Ladies and gentlemen, let me take a moment to share something that sits deeper than the heart, something that comes from the very core of who we are. This is not desire, this is a connection of souls. When we talk about a bond between souls, we are referring to a connection that reaches far beyond the outer layers of attraction or the fleeting sparks of desire. Physical desire is immediate. It responds to what the eyes see or what the senses crave. It rises quickly, but it can fade just as easily. A soul connection, however, is rooted in something much deeper. It begins in the quiet spaces of the heart, the unspoken understanding that forms when two people recognize something familiar in each other. This recognition is not based on appearance, circumstance, or convenience. It is based on alignment, resonance, and inner truth. It feels like meeting your spirit has known long before your body ever did. This kind of connection cannot be forced, fabricated, or misunderstood. When it exists, it has a calm power to it. It doesn't rush, it doesn't demand, it doesn't pressure. Instead, it feels like a soft pull, steady, intuitive, reassuring. You don't feel overwhelmed by it. You feel guided. You don't feel consumed. You feel expanded. You don't lose yourself. You find parts of yourself you didn't know were missing. A soul bond is emotional resonance, not emotional dependency. It is not about needing someone to complete you, but recognizing someone who complements you. It is not about escaping loneliness, but embracing companionship built on authenticity. When two souls connect, they see each other in a way that is rare in this world. They see past the masks, past the defenses, past the insecurities. They see the deeper essence, the spirit beneath the surface. And when you feel seen at that level, it changes the way you move through life. You begin to stand taller because you feel understood. You begin to speak more honestly because you feel heard. You begin to love more deeply because you feel safe. This resonance is not born from desire. It is born from harmony. It is the way two energies complement each other, balance each other, and elevate each other. It is the difference between someone who excites your impulses and someone who awakens your soul. One fades. The other transforms you. Soul connections teach you, challenge you, and help you grow. They encourage reflection and self-awareness. They bring out the strengths you forgot you had and soften the parts of you that have been hardened by life. The beauty of a soul connection lies not in intensity, but in depth. It is not loud, yet it echoes through every part of your being. It is not dramatic, yet it leaves no lasting imprint. It is not perfect, yet it feels profoundly right. And when you experience this kind of bond, you understand that desire may ignite a moment, but a soul connection sustains a lifetime. Soul connection requires vulnerability, honesty, and emotional courage, because true intimacy is never built on masks or performance. When two souls genuinely connect, they are not bonding through their best version or their most polished self. They are connecting through truth, the raw, unfiltered truth of who they are beneath the layers of pride, fear, and past wounds. Vulnerability becomes the bridge that allows two spirits to meet halfway. Without it, the connection remains shallow, stuck at the level of desire or convenience. With it, the connection deepens into something unforgettable. To allow someone into your inner world requires courage, especially in a world where so many people have been taught to hide their heart behind walls. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the power to say, "This is me." Not the version I show the world, but the truth I carry within. When two people share that truth, something sacred happens, judgment fades, pretending ends. What grows in its place is trust. Trust that you won't be abandoned for your imperfections. Trust that your emotions won't be dismissed. Trust that your soul will be met with empathy rather than criticism. Honesty is another pillar of soul connection. It isn't just about telling the truth. It's about living in truth. It's the courage to express how you feel even when it's uncomfortable, to communicate your needs, even when you fear misunderstanding, to admit your flaws even when you want to appear strong. Honesty creates safety, and safety creates the space where love can grow roots deep enough to weather storms. Without honesty, even the most passionate connection loses its strength over time. With honesty, even difficult moments become opportunities to grow together. Emotional courage is what allows two people to navigate challenges without running away. When you are emotionally courageous, you choose to face discomfort rather than avoid it. You choose to listen rather than react. You choose to stay even when your instincts tell you to retreat. Soul connection thrives when both people bring that level of bravery to the bond. It means being willing to unlearn old habits, to confront personal shadows, and to evolve for the sake of the connection. The beauty of a soul connection is that it encourages vulnerability instead of punishing it. It welcomes honesty instead of fearing it. It rewards emotional courage with deeper intimacy. When two people are willing to open themselves fully, to expose their fears, their dreams, their insecurities, and their truth, the connection becomes unbreakable. It stops being just a relationship and becomes a journey of shared growth. The heart becomes a home, the bond becomes a sanctuary, and the connection becomes a space where both souls can rise into the best version of themselves. A soul connection goes far beyond any physical desire because it reaches into the deepest places inside a person, the parts that aren't seen with the eyes, but felt with the spirit. When two souls connect, it isn't about appearance, charm, or momentary attraction. It is something that resonates quietly and powerfully beneath the surface. It is the recognition of something familiar, something safe, something meaningful that goes beyond anything the physical world can offer. Physical desire lights up the senses, but a soul connection lights up the entire being. It creates an understanding that cannot be forced or faked, and it cannot be explained in simple terms because it is tied to purpose, energy, and emotion all at once. When someone feels a connection on a soul level, they feel seen without needing to speak. They feel valued without having to perform. They feel understood without needing to justify who they are. It is one of the rare experiences in life that brings both comfort and excitement at the same time. Physical attraction may draw two people together, but it never guarantees depth. A soul connection, however, naturally invites depth. It encourages vulnerability and honesty. It creates a space where two people can share their fears, dreams, and imperfections without worrying about judgment or rejection. It is the kind of connection that feels like a gift, something that happens at the right moment to reveal something important about life. While desire is often loud and urgent, a soul connection is gentle, steady, and assuring. Desire depends on circumstances, timing, mood, and external factors. A soul connection doesn't depend on any of that. It exists independently of physical factors and continues to grow even when appearances change, even when challenges arise, even when life gets complicated. Physical desire may fade when tested, but a soul connection becomes stronger in hardship because it is anchored in emotional truth and spiritual alignment. It does not disappear when the spark dims, because it was never based solely on the spark. It is based on a shared energy that recognizes value not in the fleeting but in the eternal. A soul connection also inspires growth. It pushes people to be better, to heal, to dream bigger, to overcome inner battles, and to walk in their purpose with more confidence. Someone who connects with another person's soul doesn't just love them. They support them, challenge them, and help reveal their potential. They see what the other person can become, not just who they are today. This level of connection strengthens resilience, builds trust, and fosters emotional maturity. It creates a bond that is rare and precious, something people search for, but often settle before finding. A connection of souls is not something that happens every day. It is uncommon because it requires honesty, openness. It requires two individuals willing to see beyond the physical and embrace what truly matters. Tui expenson, okay. Notitu's 500 words, no subheading, no conclusion, tune, gives people the freedom to be authentic without fear, without pressure, and without the need to perform. In a world where many feel obligated to hide their flaws, present perfection, or pretend to be something they are not, finding a connection that allows genuine expression becomes a rare form of peace. When two people share a connection strong enough to strip away masks, it becomes more than just a relationship. It becomes a sanctuary. Authenticity is one of the greatest gifts that can exist between two human beings, and it thrives only where trust and emotional safety are present. This kind of connection allows both individuals to show up as their real selves, knowing they will be accepted rather than judged. In many relationships driven by desire alone, people often shape, shift, adjust their personalities, or hold back parts of themselves in fear of losing interest or approval. They might hide their insecurities, mute their opinions, or pretend to be stronger than they are. While this might sustain a temporary attraction, it never creates real intimacy. A connection rooted in authenticity welcomes every layer of a person. The strengths, the weaknesses, the doubts, and everything in between. It provides the reassurance that vulnerability is not a liability, but a doorway to deeper understanding. Being able to speak freely, express emotions honestly, and reveal imperfections without fear strengthens the connection far beyond anything physical desire can achieve. Authenticity within a true connection also nurtures emotional stability. When people don't have to constantly monitor their behavior, rehearse their words, or worry about being misunderstood, they move through the relationship with confidence and ease. This kind of comfort builds a bond that feels natural rather than forced. It removes the tension that comes from pretending and replaces it with genuine closeness. The feeling of being truly known and accepted is one of the greatest forms of emotional intimacy. It creates a foundation that supports long-term trust, closeness, and companionship. A connection that encourages authenticity also deepens communication. When individuals are comfortable enough to speak their truths, conversations become richer, more meaningful, and more sincere. Honest communication prevents misunderstandings, resolves conflicts more effectively, and fosters mutual respect. Both people feel valued because their voices matter. Presence becomes more important than performance, and honesty becomes more important than ego. This level of communication strengthens emotional bonds and makes the relationship resilient in the face of life's challenges. Additionally, authentic connection inspires personal growth. When someone can be themselves without fear, they feel empowered to improve themselves without shame. They grow not to impress, but to evolve. They heal not because they feel pressured, but because the connection gives them strength to confront their inner wounds. Authenticity becomes a shared journey that elevates both people, helping them rise together rather than drift apart. True connection removes limitations. It removes doubt. It removes the need to pretend. It invites people to embrace who they truly are and to share that truth with someone who sees them clearly. To expanse EO. OFKEYOE 500 words. No sub. No conclusion. A bond built on spiritual resonance brings peace rather than pressure because it aligns with the deepest needs of the heart, creating an atmosphere of ease, balance, and emotional clarity. When two people meet and their spirits naturally align, there is no need to force understanding, rush emotions, or struggle for validation. Everything feels organic. Everything flows. Instead of tension, there is calm. Instead of doubt, there is certainty. Spiritual resonance means that two souls recognize each other on a level that doesn't need explanation. It is an instinctive harmony that shows up in the way conversations unfold, in the way silence becomes comfortable, and in the way presence becomes its own language. Peace becomes the natural outcome of this alignment because the relationship is built on truth, trust, and emotional compatibility rather than expectation or pressure. Pressure arises when individuals feel they must meet unrealistic standards or play roles that do not align with their inner selves. It shows up in relationships where love is conditional, where affection must be earned, or where emotional labor is one-sided. But a connection based on spiritual resonance eliminates these dynamics. It replaces pressure with acceptance. It replaces tension with understanding. Both individuals feel emotionally safe enough to express their thoughts, reveal their struggles, and share their dreams without fear of rejection. Peace whirls in this environment because emotional safety allows people to relax their defenses and simply exist in the moment. This kind of bond also provides peace because it operates from mutual respect and shared values. When two people connect spiritually, they often find that their principles, morals, or inner beliefs align. This alignment removes many of the conflicts that arise when individuals operate from vastly different emotional landscapes. Instead of spending energy trying to change or convince each other, they move harmoniously in the same direction. This doesn't mean the relationship is free of challenges, but it means those challenges are approached with patience, empathy, and unity instead of frustration or fear. Peace is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of stability even in difficulty. Spiritual resonance provides that stability. Additionally, a spiritually aligned connection nurtures emotional clarity. When two souls resonate, communication becomes transparent and heartfelt. Misunderstandings decrease because both individuals listen with intention rather than defensiveness. They hear the emotion behind the words, and they respond with compassion rather than impulse. This clarity prevents unnecessary conflict and fosters an atmosphere where both people feel valued and heard. Peace whirls when communication is grounded in sincerity instead of assumption. A bond built on spiritual resonance also encourages inner peace within each person. The relationship becomes a source of strength rather than stress. Instead of draining their emotional energy, the connection replenishes it. People feel more grounded, more centered, and more capable of facing life's challenges because they know they are supported in a genuine way. This shared peace becomes a foundation that enhances mental health, emotional resilience, and overall well-being. A connection like this is more than companionship. It is a reminder that love is meant to heal, not hurt. It is meant to elevate, not exhaust. When we distinguish a connection of souls from mere desire, we acknowledge that real connection is built on something far more enduring than physical attraction or emotional thrill. A soul connection is about awareness, an instinctive recognition that this person enters your life not by accident, but with purpose. Their presence affects you on multiple levels. They challenge your thinking, soften your heart, awaken compassion, and encourage emotional growth. It's a connection that expands your capacity to love because it teaches you the true meaning of intimacy. And intimacy, in its deepest form, has nothing yet with touch and everything to do with truth. A soul connection brings comfort even in conflict because both individuals prioritize understanding over winning. Arguments don't turn into wars. Disagreements don't become reasons to disconnect. Instead, both people seek clarity, not control. They listen with intention. They speak with intention. This kind of emotional maturity creates a relationship environment where both people feel safe to express themselves. When two souls connect, communication becomes a bridge, not a battleground. You don't fear being misunderstood because the connection itself makes honesty easier and safer. This type of bond invites both peace and passion, but not the chaotic kind of passion that burns out quickly. It is a steady flame, consistent, warm, dependable. Even in silence, the connection speaks. Even in distance, the bond remains. It offers a sense of grounding, as though your spirit recognizes a familiar energy in the other person. You may not understand why, but you feel it. You feel at home, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is real. And real is stronger than perfect. A soul connection also transforms the way you experience love. Instead of searching for validation, you seek alignment. Instead of demanding attention, you cultivate presence. Instead of trying to own the person, you honor the relationship. Love becomes less about possession and more about partnership. You don't measure the connection by how often you receive and how rarely you give. Instead, you measure by how deeply you can grow together. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. This connection encourages patience. It teaches acceptance. It reveals that intimacy is not about merging into one identity, but about supporting each other's individual paths while walking side by side. You celebrate strengths without envy and confront each other's weaknesses without judgment. You are not afraid to grow, because growth strengthens the bond rather than threatens it. Through this connection, you learn that love isn't about filling empty spaces, but about expanding full ones. It is not about fixing brokenness, but about walking together with understanding and grace. A soul connection lasts because it is built on truth, presence, and emotional resonance. It becomes a relationship that doesn't just touch your life, but transforms it. And in that transformation, you discover that the heart always knows what the mind takes time to understand. This is not desire. This is a connection of souls. In life, when you finally understand that real connection isn't about how loud your heartbeat gets. When somebody walks in the room, and it ain't about how good they look on your arm either. Desire will fool you. It'll make you chase things that sparkle for a moment and disappear like smoke. But a connection of souls, now that's a different kind of flame. It's steady. It's warm. It doesn't burn you. It builds you. And when you get older, when you've lived enough life, when you've been heartbroken enough times, you learn to tell the difference between someone who just excites you and someone who truly aligns with you. See, what most people don't realize is that soul connection shows up in the quiet ways. It's in the way somebody listens to you with their whole spirit, not just waiting on their turn to talk. It's in the way they remember the things you said years ago because your words mattered to them, not because they were trying to impress you. You can't fake that. You can't teach that. It's either there or it ain't. And when it is there, it feels like peace. It feels like finally being able to